Hey everybody, I'm Todd Banner. Welcome to my channel. A little different area of the studio in the woods. This is a little bit more remote. The ones I've done previous videos lately is at a picnic table that somehow ended up off in the woods, but it's really not far out away from the regular picnic area. This is like at least the third time I have attempted to do an update on things going on in Lumix land, which yeah, they're changing rather rapidly. So as you recall, I put up a video about the S9 and my thoughts. I actually put up two videos about the S9 and my thoughts about that. Not something that's aimed at me, not something that I'm going to buy, but I really think this very possible. There's a fair number of people who want the added, benefits of a full-frame sensor, be it cleaner looking images, be it shallow, super shallow depth of field, be it low light performance. I mean, these are all things that are pluses for that, and the fact that you can just, using the real-time LUT feature in the new app, just essentially get stuff out of the camera, get it posted to social media, whatever your favorite platform is, and away you go. So, but what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about the other end of the spectrum, and that is the LX100 Mark II, which actually I did not bring with me this morning. I used it last night. I had an assignment for the paper, and actually the little Oak Park has this little street, I wouldn't call it a festival, but it's called Thursday Night Out during the summers, and every Thursday they close off the downtown street and they put out tables and chairs, and you can buy food at the local restaurants. I think you get a discount for that. And they have bands, and they had a pretty cool jazz band. Anyway, it was a really nice opportunity to take. I just took the LX100 and shot essentially street photography. For part of it, I set it to L monochrome D, shot raw so that I can convert it to color if I need to submit any of that to the newspaper. And of course, now we have the Leica D-Lux 8. And it's an update to the LX100 Mark II. And as in my recent video, there is a white-tailed deer over here who hasn't seen me yet. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. I see what they're doing. They have essentially released this D-Lux 8 as a replacement to the D-Lux 7, which was essentially the same camera as the LX100 Mark II. And they put the same skin that the Leica Q3 has on it, so it's kind of a cosmetic update. You can get a grip for the thing because unlike the LX100 line, there's no grip built into the camera. And they updated the viewfinder, which people are going to like. They went to an OLED viewfinder rather than the field sequential viewfinder that's in the previous LX and D-Lux cameras. So people are going to like that. If you have an LX100 Mark II, this is, I don't think, obviously worth the upgrade. No noise from Panasonic yet on whether they're going to follow along and release a similar camera. But my feeling is they probably aren't, and there might be a couple of reasons for that. And mainly because the camera, I mean, it's the same lens, it's the same sensor. And I got a fair amount of comments about the LX100 Mark II as far as a Mark III version. And people want the 25 megapixel sensor from the G9 II and now the GH7, which just came out. And somebody said they didn't want the crop, the crop lever on there, but at 25 megapixels, crop lever, you're going to get, unless you crop to a square, I think, you're going to get 20 megapixels out of the camera. So, that's fine. One suggestion that I thought was rather interesting was rather than having a motorized zoom, have a manual zoom. Because the zoom, honestly, on the LX100, at least my Mark II, ain't all that fast. It's pretty slow. So for a street camera, that's really suboptimal. But remember, Fujifilm had a line of cameras. They were built around a 2/3 inch or type 2/3 sensor, the X10, X20. I think there was an X30, and they had a manual zoom. In fact, I think you turn the camera on by twisting the zoom and extending it, which would turn the camera on. And of course, to me that makes a lot of sense because it's probably less expensive to do that than to put in a motor to drive the zoom. So that was an interesting suggestion. But what I think Panasonic is going to do is they're going to sit back and they're not going to, release a version of this D-Lux 8, because honestly, what's the point? It's just not different enough. So maybe if the D-Lux 8 does really well, Panasonic will think, oh, well, maybe we should update this camera, and then actually do a real update. Put in a new lens. I mean, this lens that's on these cameras now came out in 2012. Put in a new lens. With the advances in lens technology, you never know. Maybe you could extend that on the wide end down to around 20 millimeters and hopefully keep it at 75 at the long end. I mean, I think that might be doable. The other thing that would be really, really nice is a flippy screen. Not necessarily a flip out, but one at least that tilts so that you can look down while you're shooting, which is the way I shoot with this camera anyway. I mean, if I pretend this is the LX100II, I mean, I frequently will find myself just holding it down and taking a shot. And if it's in low light, and I think the IS is not going to do the job, having the neck strap under tension and holding it that way really helps stabilize the camera. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if you want a brand new LX or D-Lux, pretty much your only choice is D-Lux 8. And if you're looking to buy a used LX100II, I looked on the various sites, and you're going to spend more than they were new. I mean, I saw an LX100II, it was used, and it was up close to $1,500, which is what the D-Lux 8 sells for. So if you got that much money burning a hole in your pocket, I would skip buying a used LX100II and just get the D-Lux, and then you're going to have to probably buy a grip for it as well, which I think Leica is selling. So, those are my thoughts on this thing. I mean, I hope that the D-Lux 8 does really well, and I hope that gets Panasonic to think, hey, we should probably update this camera. But we'll see what they do. As far as that whole hullabaloo with the S9, and now we have the GH7 came out, and GH7 looks like a beast of a camera. Again, not something that is geared towards me. My video needs are well satisfied by my G9 Mark II and my Pocket Osmo 3, which is sitting right here filming me. And I like the fact that I can control this thing from my phone just as I can with my Lumix cameras. Now, all these people who are just freaking out about the S9, and now here comes the GH7, and there's that subset of people saying, well, we need a full frame. Well, first of all, having worked in technology and selling technology for several large corporations, it's hard to do everything at once. So my guess is for the L-mount shooters that want an update to the S1 line, you're going to get that, and you're probably going to get that this year. And so you're going to see an S1 and an S1H. They're probably going to have updated sensors. You're probably going to have faster readout so that you don't get the rolling shutter effect that you do get with the S5 models. And that's actually one of the advantages that the GH7 has, because the sensor, the 25 megapixel sensor, first of all, it is a faster readout. Second of all, it's a quarter the size, so you only have halfway to go in the scan to get to do the full readout. So that cuts way down on rolling shutter. It's not a huge issue with the GH6 or 7 or the G9 Mark II. So that's kind of it. Oh, I mentioned, I have, and these are assignments for the newspaper, I have photographed so many high school and middle school graduations at this time of year that I will never get pomp and circumstance out of my head. But that is actually why I'm having trouble getting videos up, is that I've been shooting all of these graduations. I have 3 more to do. They're actually tomorrow as we're filming. Luckily, They are all at the same venue because one of our townships, they have 3 high schools. They're all going to be at an arena at one of the local universities. Any inputs on the D-Lux 8? Any thoughts and what Panasonic should do with the LX100 line? Leave them down below. I'd be interested in hearing what everybody thinks. And if this was interesting or useful to you, pop that like button. I'm Todd Banner. I will see you next time.